Hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience Sunday wrap-up. We've got a panel of three this week for the second time this year. Jake returning off his layoff last week and top scorer out of the three of us for the first time in quite a while. Pending updates. Jake, coach of Kiss From Behinds. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. I'm glad that you mentioned I'm top scorer for once because it probably is the first time I have been top scorer. Nico Hines captain, thank you. Not
Massive.
much else went well for me, so all right, a good week, and Sharky's just got up, so I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, it's good. They're playing some good footy, and over to Sabs, backing it up again. He's everywhere, this guy. Coming in at rank 19. Is it 18, 19?
Oh, 18.
18. One off the position that I predicted last week. I predicted 19. You come in at 18. And 1,096 for the Savage Burbos, I think is, I know might not be overly happy with it, but I think that's a good score to hold.
Yeah, I don't know where I kind of rank in the top 20 at the moment. I think I'm looking at like a lot of the teams above me, and a lot of teams have Ben Hunt who have 118. So he got 118. So, but these guys don't really have like Nico Hines and things like that. So interesting to see how it goes. I feel like I'm just a little bit under par from where I am. I feel like there's room for people behind me to catch up, but I guess we'll see. We'll see tomorrow. I'm pretty happy. I saved trade this week, so pretty happy.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think basically for everyone else around the scores that what you see below here, I think that's going to be around the par. I don't think they're crazy scores, but I think that might be just around the average. Another big week of SuperCoach. A lot of, as per usual, there seems to be each week a big injury that's going to impact SuperCoach, and a few scores and a few players that will be on your target list in the coming weeks. With especially from the center wing front, there's a lot of center wings that are killing it that you might have missed. But I believe there's a tangent coming through that are dropping cash that the right time to jump on will be soon. So let's get into it. First game of the week, pretty solid game of footy. The Roosters and the Storm. Top scorer for the Roosters, Joey Manu. Junk points, was looking at a low score and went over for a try late, cheering. 68 against the Storm. You'll take that. Angus Crichton, heavily owned. I know Savs, myself, and you did not jump on the Angus Crichton. Jake, did you?
Yeah, I jumped on him. I guess 52, all right for the price that I got him at. So, no,
good for both, I think.
Yeah.
He's going to make the money, which is kind of good, but it was nice for him not to go like 90 plus against the Storm. Like I think that would have really had me sweating, but nonetheless, good trade in. Really from there, Tedesco 41. Terrell May, the yo-yo continues with the minutes. Like this guy just should be playing minutes, way more minutes than what he's getting. And then really the other one, Daniel Tupou, we finally see a low score after his nice patch of form. And I guess just obviously next week, the Anzac Day will be for them, and we're assuming Sam Walker should be back for this one. So I feel like it'll be a good SuperCoach week for him next week because from both sides, I feel like they really like to aim up for the Anzac clash. Going across to the Storm, Lisi Katoa with a nice solid performance. Did get brought in heavily last week, but he's still at about 14%, 12 to 14% owned. So he's still well in pod category. Solid score from him. Same with Jerome Hughes for 73 for the low owners. And Sean Bloor seems to be the one that got away, man. He keeps churning some solid 60s and has it, not doing too much with the attack. Like scored a try last week and obviously picked up high, but he continues to churn cash. Thoughts on Bloor, Sabs? Is he too far gone now?
Well, the worst thing about Bloor was that he was killing the cheapy prospects of Joe Chan, but Joe Chan coming off the bench looks way better coming off the bench through the middle than he does on the edge. So it's a win-win for everyone. I think Sean Bloor on that left edge, whilst I don't expect him to get the attacking stats Katoa's getting, he got that score, 68, without really any attacking stats. I think he got a line break assist in there or something, but he just looks so good. Yeah, line break assist. But 30 tackles, 21 points in hit-ups. Like, It's exactly what you expected. On the other side of the park with Crichton at a similar price. It was like up between them two this week, but I feel like Crichton has the upside. So you'd be happy as a Crichton owner, you'd be happy as a Bloor owner.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, just the difference is the ownership's there, but both look like solid options. The Storm now do come into a nice patch of games, which is obviously next week. The Bunnies Titans. I do think after the week off, Bunnies will be out for redemption, so I don't know if that one's as much of a slam dunk. But the Storm just seem to keep winning these closer games with not as many points on there, which can be a little concerning because the big one there is Pappenhausen. Jake, you're a Pappenhausen owner. 52, not posting these big scores that you're hoping for. I guess looking for the Bunnies Titans, there's no way you could jump off. Ponga's injury also means it's even less options. Your plans and thoughts around him, Jake?
Yeah, definitely not a trade out. Just for those games alone, I think you've got to look. I think there'll be quite a few with the Ponga injury that will actually be bringing him in. There's a few other fullbacks that went quite well, and we'll get to those. But yeah, Pappenhausen just kind of hasn't gelled for him. He went through and then threw one of like an absolute shocking pass, which if he just popped it, I think it was Harry Grant, he would have scored. We'll get an extra 12 or something points. So it'll come, I think, in the next couple games.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. I think sometimes patience with some of these fullbacks does pay dividends. And the other one is Munster with the 37. So he had two decent scores or like two okay scores, a break even at 89. So his price will start to come down and in a pretty desolate position still. One to watch could be a play if you're feeling risky and you really needed a 5-8 with the Bunnies and the Titans coming up. Because I feel like that big 40-plus game for the Storm is coming. Just whether or not it is one of these two games, I think if you did want him, taking a risk on him could work. Savs, anyone else in this game you want to cover before we move on?
Not really. It's pretty uneventful, to be honest. Nick Meaney, I think he's not a terrible option. He goes down to about 620, 630K, goal kicking in the center wing with a good draw coming up. So
looked good in that game too.
Yeah, and there was a try where I thought he got disallowed. I had him in a multi, so I was quite dirty at it. I forget what happened because it's so long ago now, but yeah, that got pulled up and I was very dirty about it. But I think there's big attacking stats and he's going to have a big game soon, in my opinion. But I guess we haven't seen much from him in the center wing yet. So there's also that unknown as well.
Yeah, but with all these other big guys like Lomax who were talking about going up in price, if you can't afford to go him, I think there are a few attractive purchases around that 600K mark that maybe if you want to try and jump on something else while other people are jumping on all the popular ones, I think, Meaney fits right into that category. Jake, you go over the Dragons Warriors game for us.
There's a few upsets, but this one, no bigger upset than this one. I think the Dragons... I mean, I thought early on the Warriors, I think they scored early. The Warriors were going to win this one easy. And then Dragons just went bang, bang, bang. Ben Hunt, like Saz was mentioning, he top scored with 118. Few people have said that he's quite owned at the top end. I guess they're kind of at the top end because he has scored so well. Lomax again, he looks the premier option at centre wing. He played centre in this one, so he moved from wing to centre because Birdie was out and didn't lose a beat. He had a try disallowed right at the end as well. After I think it was RFM threw it forward, so that was 17 points gone beating. That's a ton right there, and he kind of wasn't kind of heavily involved as what he was in the wing either, and he still really scored a ton. So a big one for him. Ravalawa finally scored a try, scored big.
He played on the right wing.
Yeah, he played on the right wing, so. I mean, he'll probably go back to the left when Lomax goes out there, so probably makes him a bit redundant. Eisenhuth keeps scoring quite well, 56, but he was the one that we all should have started with. Now he's at nearly 500 or 450, 500K, so unlucky to kind of miss that one. Across the other side, Warriors were quite popular. Everyone thought they were going to give him a bath. They didn't. And I guess their draw in the next couple of games is ideal as well. So although they struggled in this one, there's still a lot of light in the next few games. Klokstad continues to score well. I guess he's kind of a fullback potential option that we can kind of throw in there. if Ponga's injury is quite serious. Fanua Blake I reckon he's probably the top front row option. Do you kind of agree with that one? The way he's going.
So consistent. Yeah. So consistent and is the most likely to score a try consistently.
And his minutes to have it like a tick up as well.
I agree. In base, I just wanted to shout out this comment is from James Philibossian. He's coming from the premium group. It doesn't actually show their names on here, but they're commenting from the premium group. So if it says Facebook user, that's from the premium group. So we will flag their messages pretty priorly.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry for disturbing, but yeah, Adam Fanua Blake, I think, geez, get up to him as soon as you can because he's really good.
And I guess he covers buys. He's not going to be affected in Origin, so he's a good one there.
Yeah.
Sean Johnson, 68, which you are owners, Savs, Mikey, you're Hughes. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'd be happy with a 68 in a game where they kind of looked dominated. He came off late. Savs, did you have anything on that? Was it just because they were getting flogged just to sort of rest in managing?
They were getting flogged. No. Actually,
yeah, because he came off with about 5 to go. I didn't see any injury. I don't know what it was.
I've heard nothing about it either. So yeah, it's funny no one's really followed up on that. But what I am excited for is 2 p.m. Thursday day game in New Zealand, owning Sean Johnson.
And it's their first Anzac Day game as well that they're having, so they'll be up for that.
After a loss, and if Kalen Ponga's out, there's also another player I'll be excited for. So,
yeah, I wonder who that is.
Are you gonna shed some light, or is that a Tuesday special? That one?
We're
pretty obvious.
During that game, Charles Nickel Clockstad. I feel like we're looking at options today, and they're starting to drop, aren't they? Like Drinkwater with Penrith next week, you can't really buy Drinkwater. I don't know. Chance is the next guy. Like Teddy is not really performing. Latrell is out.
I think there's one better. But we'll cover him in the next game. That's just my personal opinion.
Oh, Gutho.
But just before we move on to Tamari Martin with the 29, kind of just shows owners that what his floor looks like. But the cash will tick over, and they've still got a pretty friendly draw over the next couple of weeks. So let him do his job, and obviously I'd still be playing him over his next few matchups. Like the boys said, juicy matchup to own some Warriors next week.
So I guess that kind of is the same for RTS. I mean, he's been disappointing for what we kind of expected for him, but juicy game, you don't really go trading him out.
I'll be honest with you. I'm tempted at trading him out if I can jag myself a low max or a few of these other big center wings that I'm looking at. That strategy didn't work this week for Bostock, but I feel like at the same time, they just keep going that other side that I think even in this game coming up, they're just going to go Pepper, Dallin, Martini-Zalesniak. So it'd be a good week to kind of own him or look to him. But I think I want to just bring in a buy round center wing, and Tuivasa-Sheck doesn't play round 13. So I will consider selling him if it is my only way to a top shelf center wing. But yeah, I don't think he's a must sell by any means. It's just if I can get someone good, I'll do it. All right, Sabs over to the next game, bro. Parramatta and the Dolphins, another big upset.
Yeah, it feels like the weekend of upsets. I think, by the last game, I think I was prepped for the Cowboys to win that one, but obviously not. But the Dolphins, 44-16 over the Parramatta Eels. Dolphins bloody come out firing. I expect a massive performance from Parramatta here, but Jack Bostock, he was sold by 11,237 people this week with a break-even of 54. He makes 60K once again, and then he'll have a -2 break-even next week. Ridiculous.
It's upsetting. Like, I know you didn't have him from the start, Sab, so like I feel like at the same time it's like, shit that I miss this guy, but to have him sell him, like, it wasn't even like he was an urgent sell. It was more so it was like he's at a good price to be able to upgrade him to someone that you believe is a gun to set you up going forward, which is what most of those 11,000 did. But to bring in someone that scored 38 and then for him to do that, man, it stings because that is now going to be a straight swap to a gun. And to be honest, I'd like to say, like, with the way he's scoring, if you could somehow hold him They cover every bye round. If you could somehow work out a strap where you can hold him, I feel like the weeks he does lose a bit of cash, he's going to make it back because he'll be the Dolphins' leading try scorer at this rate.
Weird, eh? Like weird how Azarko was the leading try scorer last year, and you kind of like, oh, you can't really go to touch that left side because they won't get any ball. But
and look, bang, killing it.
Let's just keep going to him. And it hurts. It hurts as a seller, doesn't it, Mikey? I'm with you.
Yeah,
but we still made 200K, so there's some positive in actually having him at some point.
Well, you still make a profit, but just it's now like, the what if, like, wasted a trade this week, realistically.
They could have had 130 in our score as well.
Yeah,
but also look at it glass half full. Like, you got Garrick in your side this week. The priority might be to sell Ponga this week if he's not named, and then Bostock could come out and score 10 next week, and Garrick could score 150. So it might come back. I feel like that's not going to happen, but
they cover the round 16 and 19. I'm trying not to just tunnel vision of one bye, which is why I kind of wanted someone like Garrick, because I believe I want him by 14. I know a lot of people say in center. I guess we just don't cover him when we get to Manly, but look, his scores have been pretty solid. It was just it wasn't the game we were hoping for Manly, and they just kind of went to everyone else, and they their defense was shit. But yeah, continue, Savs.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm running this game. Max,
don't forget you haven't covered Eels as well.
Max Plath, 94. Cheapy just got the second row duel come back from suspension, 315K. I had some questions about him this week, and I just didn't even consider him. I knew I was considering him as an option when he was a 5'8", but Lockie Galvin come in. But he's got that second row duel now, and at 315K, geez, that's a bad miss from a lot of us.
Yeah, he was traded in by 605 people, so massive for the 605 people because he looks so good. Like the Dolphins, just like, you can never kind of write him off because they have the games like this. He just looks like such a footballer. I really like him in lock.
He's a footballer, this kid.
Yeah,
he's a footballer. Trey Fuller, 87. Cheapy fullback potentially. Ponga's down. I don't love it. But Isaiah Katoa looks really good. 79 points, 5'8" halfback. Obviously a position where it's pretty good. So you don't want to make him fill up a position, but he's still looking pretty good.
Well, in 5'8", you can probably afford to put someone the way 5'8" is going. So I think that's kind of where you would plug in. But, I mean, these first couple of years, he was a bit, just learning, getting his feet. But now he looks really good. And I guess if the Dolphins are going to keep scoring points, he looks so involved in it. And I guess Nicarima is probably another one as well. I'm not too sure on his price, and he's kind of a bit up and down.
Dylan Brown, late try for 60 points. How good was that? I fell asleep before this game finished, and he was on like 23 points, and I woke up feeling so shitty that he scored shit, and I was like, this is a shit weekend. And then I saw in some group chats saying, this is so annoying that he scored that junk try, and I was like, what? He scored a try? Looked at the stats, scored a line break try. So I knew, I felt like the try was coming, but I really expected a big game with a try to come along with it. So he's a bit worrying because he's the kind of person when he's not scoring well, you want to see intent from him. And I feel like he's looking kind of like a passenger. What are your thoughts, Jake?
Yeah, it's not so much passenger. He's trying to be the one steering the team, which means he's giving it off to Gutho or RC or whoever is playing 5'8", where if Moses was there, Moses is giving it to him to kind of hit the line and play whatever is in front. So he's playing a completely different role, which for Dylan Brown, his Supercoach, is not ideal. So until kind of Moses is back, I don't think he's going to quite have the scores that we'd expect from him.
Joey Lussick, 51 points. I mean, you'd be pretty happy if you held on, but it's funny how things go with Lussick. We were telling people a couple of weeks ago, oh, how good is it to hold Levi? Like, you wasted a trade by going Levi to Lussick. But now I reckon the shoe's on the other foot again. Like, you'd be way more happy to have Lussick than you would Levi. But I also think it runs in waves. Like you could wait a couple of weeks, and I really don't feel like Levi is going to bounce back because I just think he got really lucky with them tries. But this is Lussick, and he's not a priority sellout because I really feel like this is kind of his base or his like low point.
Keep riding the wave. Like, yeah, it's funny. Like 2 weeks ago, everyone's going, aha, Lussick looks like a shit move now. Now it's like, haha. Like, it's like now it's our turn to have a bit of a laugh. And yeah, I reckon you can ride this wave of him going up and down because realistically, he lost 10K the other week to now with this 50 and the score from last week in his rolling average. He'll have a nice low break even. I want to try and keep riding this wave as long as I can. And if I can get the round 13 out of him, I think, a 50 around the buy round would be a very handy score. So, yeah, definitely trying to ride that wave. And I guess you don't really want to waste trading that second hooker position. I kind of just want to leave who I have there and let it roll because it's just a waste.
Yeah. And especially like there's the likes of Brayley and stuff like that coming up, but it's just there's so many other priorities.
Till you're ready to go, Grant. I just want to hold the fort.
I think that's it for this game. It wasn't very eventful. A lot of SuperCoach irrelevant players that don't really have positions, but we've got James Philippoussin once again, who are the top sells this week. We can cover that later if you want, or you want
Ponga, depending on his injury. But I'm pretty solid on selling him either way. I think there's no way. I think last week he shouldn't have played this week. They rushed him back. I think it was about a call from O'Brien. And I think there's no way that they name him again with the hip, like 2 injuries. This is their best player. They need him in there to keep performing well. They're going to have to wrap him up in bubble wrap. I know they've got a good run coming up, but the Knights just aren't looking great. And, I'm happy to kind of sell him and just worry about him till after the origin period. Either way, I think he's the biggest sell. And I guess some of these other guys' break evens are starting to creep up, but Schiller and Strange, I think maybe we can wait a week. I think that's the only biggest one. Anyone else got any big sells?
Well, I think just with Ponga, he's going to start to lose value now. So I think the good thing is we've got all these options where we can make 100, 200K. So it's a perfect time to do it, especially when like I'm really starting to think that all these options are pretty much shells at the same time. Like Lockie Galvin's going to have a break even of 14. Do you want to hold on to him? Like that's a question. Ethan Strange, he's got a 50 break even next week and he's 550K. So where do you go with him? Schiller, I think Schiller's definitely a sell next week. You've also got Smithies and Fini Fuiaki as well, who are both pretty much maxed out. Smithies is nearly 500K. There's so many things you can do, and it just feels a bit overwhelming, to be honest, because what do you do? Who do you sell first?
Yeah. Strange is a bit like he's now going to be the guy leading the pack. You kind of want to wait and see how he goes without Fogarty. He might, I'm still happy to kind of play him and hold him. Those other ones you mentioned, Smithies. It's just like at the same time, I'm going to need to start saving trades. So it's getting a bit hard. Fini Fuiaki, he still hasn't he's going to score some more tries. And when he does, he's got more cash to make. So I want to hold and be patient. After Penrith, they've got a really nice run of form. I jumped off Drinky. I want to hold the faith with Fini Fuiaki. But I think a couple of those Raiders, we're looking to jump off. And even Bronson Sherry could be a shout. The Bulldogs go on the bye next week. He's going to make a good amount of money. A Schiller to him might be well because even at sub 400K, he's still got money to make. And that edge is just scoring so many tries. So that could be a play for the week after. With that
very annoying. You had the bye next week, but at least it gives you a bit of time to get him next week because he will have a low break.
If you want him. Yeah, I think he's still worth getting at about 400 and something K if there are no other cheaper options.
I guess we'll chat about him once it comes on, but we do have another comment from Galway. Trip Jack and Marvell, what do we got? Distortion days were goated.
It's funny to see some of the guys listening to podcasts used to DJ with him or DJ alongside him on the lineups back in the day. I got the Trip Jack and Marvell. I didn't even realize that I'm repping my team name.
Well, also, your team name's on the screen as well. But I also want to give a shout out to a listener of the show. I used to really be into the gym TikToks back in the day, and one of the OG gym TikTokers, Brock Hutchinson, he's in our premium group right now. He has 500K followers on TikTok, and his slogan was "Is that good?" And he used to critique gym videos. He is a massive SuperCoach fan. He's playing his first SuperCoach year this year, and he loves our content. So shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to all the guys that, well, it's weird how you do this podcast and then you end up like reconnecting with people that you haven't in a long time. So it's definitely cool with it. Let's go on to game number 4. The Panthers, 22-6.
Before you go, Mikey, you always manage to plan this so you talk about the Panthers.
Bro.
It happens every week.
I didn't even mean to, but it just shows because obviously I go first each week. So it seems the way they're playing, it's a sign, mate. Can't even see it, but repping them as well. 22-6 by them. As much as you might say, great performance by Penrith. This was a lot of a closer game, and it was a very worrying game. The Tigers played a good game, and were honest that whole game. But yet again, you look back to last year, and we're positioned the same we were at this point last year. But last year we hadn't had our Cleary injury yet. I think we're in great position to, once Cleary gets back on, a bit of a roll. So look out. But SuperCoach point of view, Isaiah Yeo keeps on pumping through. Looks like to be probably the high end, most reliable pick to have in your second row. Dylan Edwards could look to be a prime replacement for Ponga if you're happy to go straight swap. 89, people think, his scores are inflated because of Cleary, but no. He'll lose the goal kicking, but he was scoring well with Cleary in the side. His scores this year are absolutely ridiculous, and this is the first time he's done this consistently. Like, is this just his breakout year? Because they've won the comp 3 times in a row, and now he's doing this in SuperCoach. That's why, to me, I think you look at it and you go, I can't pay that for him, and it's got to be an anomaly, and it's going to stop. Dylan Edwards, anyone? I'd love to own him, but I don't know if I can.
He's 900K, so after Ponga locks out this week, you got to spend money to get
20K extra, roughly, I think.
900K for Dylan Edwards. That's never heard of.
But the draw is pretty favourable, and he's looking really good. As I said, there's just some other options, like when we get to the Broncos, I just prefer Walshy over. I prefer to try and make money, and if I'm forced into making a trade because of injury, I want to capitalise. I want to get someone that's going to score well, but have some money in the bank to upgrade elsewhere. I'm so big on that. It's not always the move, but when you're betting on someone that isn't like a surety and Cleary's come back, it's also not 100% that Nathan Cleary's going to come back. I know all of us are going to want to jump on Cleary in his back, and I'm 100% got that move locked in. But he's not locked to come in. I think if he's not 100%, they won't play him. They're winning games still. They're not going to rush tonight. It's playing good footy, so they're not going to rush it. Fisher Harris scores a try, statement play after leaving, goes, I'm going to play my heart out, and he's going to play his heart out. Sad week this week, Savs. I know even you as a non-Panther supporter, it felt like it hit home to you. Couldn't believe it, but props to how the Panthers handled it.
How shocked were you when you saw the news? I
thought it was a joke. I thought someone was fucking with me.
So it's so good though. Like, I wish we got news like this more often, where we don't get the news like 2 weeks before it happens.
It's like a plot twist. It was very, very good. But it's good to see him score a try. Taruba, a guy that we talked about, me and Barnesy talked about like the preseason. I really want to own, but then you go, he scored 2 tries, and other than those 2 tries, he gets like 14 points extra. But honestly, he's going to be Panthers' leading try scorer. It looks like they're just going to keep going that way. At some point, it's going to switch to left, but man, that play, and Edwards seems to keep getting the try assist for him. So if it's not broken, why fix it? So I feel like it's going to keep going down to him. As soon as teams start to lock it up, they'll switch to the other side. Sorry, Savs, you look like you want to say something there.
Oh, no, it's just the way you said that saying. I was trying to figure out if that was the right way to say it, but kind of works.
I feel like it is. Yeah, look, I'm on orthodox in the way you get used to it. But Alamotti, he looked good. He looked good. He's at a good price. If he can somehow, and with an injury, stay there, you knew that was a good signing and that he'd fit the Panther system. And he looked very lean, looked like he dropped a bit of weight, and I loved him on the left out there. He looked so good.
Jake?
One for the Black Book.
Well, does May, I assume he's going to come back maybe next week or the week after. Does he come in, or does he just stick with Alamotti? Because I think he did enough to keep his spot.
He did enough, but at the same time, Taylor May did play very good in the opening round. So it was kind of like, it'll be interesting to see what they do. The fact that Taylor May's just re-signed as well, like surely they would have the faith to him. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But I feel like when one doesn't play well, the other one will switch him in.
There's just people in the comments that realize they knew each other.
Making friends here in the SuperCoach experience. One that I'm really interested in, Isaac Tago. I don't have any Panthers in my side, and I'm looking at it. I know he comes in at 748, high break even. He's going to come out at 680K. I was saying this off the thing to Sabs. When he was the round 2 and round 3, when he went absolutely bonkers, he scored 145, and then that next game, sorry, my thing's just buffering. He went absolutely nuts. The second that both those games, mind you, were with Nathan. The second that Nathan wasn't there and he was injured, he dishes up scores of 47, 32, and then the score that we got this week of 58, which was a little better. So yeah, 145 and 100. It kind of makes me feel like with Cleary in the side, his scoring's obviously up a little bit. They look a little bit deadly, and those tries are going to come back again. And I think they'll start putting some scores on when Cleary comes in. I think he's one for the black book, and the reason why, I really like To'o as well, because I feel like he's starting to come down at a nice price to jump on as he starts to score some tries. But Tago will cover the buy round, and that's what I'm looking at. I want to start bringing in some center wings that are going to cover me that buy round, that have a bit higher upside. So Tago's definitely one on my watch list. Kind of, I don't know if I want to spend 800K for Lomax now, although he's killing it. Maybe I look to take a risk with Tago this week at 690, or wait an extra week and maybe get him for 650. So these are ones I'll be looking at, and he loves to play at Bluebet Stadium too. So Penrith don't play there till round 10, so maybe getting him closer then. Tago, anyone? It's just me.
No, I don't mind it. Like you said, covers that buy. So I guess with Nathan back, you're going to get those 140, 100 scores because he likes finding him. So don't mind it all, especially with his price coming down.
Sabs, I know you've been raving on about him as well. Kind of said that.
Yeah, exactly what you said. His price is coming down because he's had no Cleary in the side, and as soon as Cleary comes back, he'll get way more quality ball. So they got a good draw coming up, and it's kind of weird when the Panthers game happened on the weekend. I had no one in that game, and it just felt really weird because they're the top team in the competition. They're the best attacking team in the competition, and we didn't have anyone from their side. So
yeah, I've got 0 Panthers, which is a first for me.
I think once they start to, they usually warm in until the Origin period, that they end round next, probably this round till about round 13. This is when they start to go really hot. So I think they'll start to put it on some scores with some sides. So
yeah,
you got to have a piece of that, don't you?
Said it perfectly. Yeah. Sorry, go.
And with To'o, we're looking at his price. It's coming down and down, and next week, 49, and he did nothing. He loses 63K, so it'd be about 650. But I don't know. I don't like what that edge is doing, to be honest.
But that's what makes me feel like surely something's going to change. Teams are going to start realizing they're throwing it that way, and like they do every year, it's going to switch to that side.
Yeah,
it happens to To'o every year. I remember it was a pod move jumping on him last year, and then I jumped on him, and then he started going doubles and scoring. And when he starts scoring again, he's going 80 plus. So I feel like he's someone that's always got to be considered. But I prefer Tago purely for that Origin, and I think, as we said, I think Panthers are going to go on a bit of a run roll, and it's going to be good for SuperCoach. I want to have a piece of that. So when I get Cleary, I want a 2-for-1, and I want a bundle deal where I can pick up a center wing. I want to own a center wing. Taruva scares me. As I said, if Taylor comes back to that side, I wouldn't mind a piece of Taylor. If Alamotti beats him to that side, I wouldn't mind getting Alamotti. But I'm very interested in either Tago or To'o. If you're going to go long run and you're not worried about the buys, if he goes down to 600K, I feel like it's going to be very hard to ignore. Going a Strange or a Schiller up to him is not going to cost you much at all. That is a very tempting trade in a couple of weeks, especially once, they hit the bunnies and then they start to get a bit of a home games coming up. It'll be huge. And I'd say he's pretty much locked into that wing spot. Surely he doesn't lose it. But you never know. New coach. Other than that, for Panthers, Sorensen had a good game, but realistically, also Liam Henry had a pretty low game of 27, and I know it's hard. There's not really anyone to switch him to, but if there is a way to get rid of him, I guess, maybe you can. But I might say this: if you do manage to just hold on with him, I think he can reward owners around the. He might get a bit extra minutes around the bye period. You never know. I know we don't have Origin props. I know we've got 2 New Zealand props, but yeah, I know. Sorry, I talked a lot about Penrith. But let's be honest. There's a lot for
crazy praying mantis.
But there is a lot of SuperCoach potential with them, and you'll come back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
you'll come back in a couple of weeks when they're starting to score high, and we'll come back to this comment, and I'll have a lot to say. Over the Tigers, Johnny Bateman, is he an option at 87?
He scored a try and a try assist.
He looked pretty good, and also made a lot of errors.
He didn't score a try. It was only a try.
Yeah, he did it.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Where did he ended up playing centre? So if they do suffer a back injury, he's going to be out there. So which is not ideal. I know it really didn't hurt his scoring because he had 1,000 runs and just went across field. The Fafita Fen bunch of tackle bust. So it's not the worst, but no, I probably prefer IPAP to be honest because I guess you're locked into kind of him being the back rower and not moving.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I guess the Tigers look pretty good. Not as bad as what they normally do, but it's pretty hard. Their run's a bit tough. Like they go Broncos next week. I played Galvin this week. I think, you don't want to play Galvin next week. Even Coruscant's starting to become a bit of a headache, but I guess with some of them, you just got to be a bit patient. Toy Kamanu gets his lowest score of the year. And realistically, other than that, I don't think they covered the round 13 bye. They might. I'll confirm. But other than that, I'm not really looking at any Tigers. No, see, they don't play 13. And, they still, I don't really like it. Yeah, so maybe around 14. So that's why I guess if Coruscant's not named, he'd also be a handy one to hold on to for those buys. Anyone else in this one, guys, before we move on to the next game? All right, game 5. Go for it, Jake.
Now this one was everything happened in this one. I thought this game was going to be 60 all. It was 30 all at halftime. Good old Turbo's on 80 at halftime. As a non-owner, as a non-captain, I was like, shit, I'm in trouble here. But did absolutely nothing in the second half. I didn't see the game. I was kind of just following it along. Guys, what happened with Turbo? I was expecting him to come, I think, 150. Got
denied a try right at the end there from a forward pass that would have put him on 120. But it was like, also he was just, he was, borderline. Also, Old Kalatu got denied, but he could have possibly had a hat trick too, which would have been massive. And with what they were both on 70 each at halftime, I was like, well, here we go. This is going to set us up. And they just shat the bed. But yeah, I guess we're not really talking about
poor old Titans. Yeah. They were unlucky. Fafita, I guess the problem with him, he's not starting. Came on and scored a try, got his 80 plus points, which is ideal. He's not coming down in price. Savs, is he one that we're looking at bringing in, or maybe one after Origin, or pending if he makes Origin, kind of a one around there?
I think it depends on team makeup because I stacked my second row pretty heavily pretty early. I got Olukwatu and Eli Katoa and also Kai Pearce-Paul with Morgan Smithies and Fini Fuiaki on my bench. So I don't really need to get another gun in there. I do really need to get a gun center wing in my side because I'm playing Iro and Strange at the moment because I haven't prioritized that. And I just think like Fafita, and he's not playing the way that even if my side is set up like that, I feel like I need to have him. Because in the past, your team could be completely set up to have a gun center wing in your side, but you need to get Fafita in because he's just doing that well. He's not playing like that at the moment, and the Titans are not playing like that. I give credit to the Titans. The last 2 weeks, they've done a lot better than they have in the first opening 5 rounds. But I think the Titans are starting to throw some attack at teams, but while he's coming off the bench and not playing 80 minutes, you just need that 80 minutes for security. But I do feel like when he's coming off the bench, he still has that attacking upside. But yeah, I don't know.
I guess you can kind of throw in AJ Brimson into that. He's available at center wing, but the fact that the Titans, I guess apart from this game, haven't been scoring points, you kind of rather go somewhere else. spend an extra 100K and get someone that's in a better side, or a bit more. I know he's back at fullback now, Brimo, but yeah, still, anyone from the Titans, you're kind of hesitant going because you know that there's a good chance they don't win a game this year. So I guess Firma 49. I still have him. I mean, I'm happy with him. He kind of gets 50 points. I didn't pay a Mozza for him, so I'm happy with those. But Brian Kelly's scored 3 decent scores in a row, but again, centre wing from the Titans, you'd rather again go somewhere else. Manly, we kind of touched on it before. Turbo or Kawadu, 70s at halftime. Thought they were going to have massive. Mikey and Savs were both licking their lips. The scoring stopped in the second half. I think the last try was in the 55th minute to make it 34-30, and then there was a couple of tries, no more tries. I was like, okay, as non-owners of any of these, I'll take it. Cherry Evans. Sorry,
at least we didn't Captain Ponga.
Yeah, I guess bringing him in and using that trade, I guess you wanted him to go bigger. But the fact that, with the Ponga injury and that, and then how Drinky scored, you're like, okay, maybe it wasn't a bad move because they've got a nice run coming up. I like the Parramatta matchup next week at Brookie. And then after that, I think there's Dolphins and someone else on the horizon. So to be honest, it's not bad. And it will enable, I don't have many Warriors like you guys. So it gives me a captain for those couple of weeks where that big Tommy game is coming. And we need a game, normally a game where he scores tries like this, he normally has some try assists too, and we haven't seen that. I'm not sure if that's because Brooks is demanding a bit more ball and all that. I'm not sure if that is, but I still believe that game's coming. Like Hines proved that this week. The patience within work is going to come for Tom.
I really felt like that game should have been this week, but the way Manly played, it feels like there was a play late in the second half where he was absolutely sprinting from around the field to be the sweeper on the right side, but Cherry Evans threw it to the lead runner, but there was like a 2-on-1 overlap for Turbo at the back, but it just feels like they're on purpose trying to have a team effort. It's kind of like with Hines. I know Hines scored 133 this week, but I think their game plan is not to rely on this one player so much. But he's averaging so well at the moment because they're injecting him at the right times. But I feel like they're a bit gun shy sometimes to pass that ball to him when they probably should half of the time.
I guess last point on this game, Garrick only a 38. I guess when they're scoring 34 points, you're expecting something more from that. Break even 140. He's going to drop about 80K.
I think he'll drop 100.
No, it's 85.
No,
it's 85. Yeah, there you go. So he'll be down at 610 with a low as break even, and the one still in his rolling average.
We'll have 150 break even next week.
So he'll be right for the pick in the week after. Pending obviously his score. So
absolutely,
he's one that we're going to get cheap. I guess one people that don't own him, he's going to be one that we can look to bring in.
I'm going to buy him next week.
Yeah, look, redemption.
Playing at Brookie, Parramatta Eels. It sucks that Parramatta Eels got absolutely slaughtered on the weekend, but I just think back at Brookie, Garrick is right for the picking.
Yeah, I think as owners, we're hoping for him to bounce back. So then, because look, he's going to get heavily brought in again the week after. And some people think the center factor, but hold on. He's scored 99 in round 1, 92 in round 3, 71 in round 4. This is his worst score in center apart from that HRA affected one. I'm not too worried. And as I said, he's going to cover 2 important bye rounds, and he covers round 14. And I think maybe he covers another one of those rounds after the bye round. So he's going to be very key for that. And I'm just hoping he doesn't shed as much, because he could be a Schiller to him could cost you nothing. So it's a scary thought for, sometimes the risk doesn't work, but you've got a play that you're going to need anyway. So, I'm not trying to get too upset about it because I needed him at some point. But it sucks.
All right, Savs, on to you for the Broncos
Raiders. Not an upset, but I expected more from Canberra here.
Yeah, I tipped Canberra. Shout out to, we're actually streaming on Instagram Live at the moment as well. So if you are watching from there, shout out. I've seen some comments over there, but it doesn't come up on our stream. Logan Geyer is tuning in. Mark Guy's son. He's a keen super coach, so he wants to come on the podcast. maybe one.
On.
Reece Walsh top scores with 110. Will lose a little bit of money because he's got a break even of 164. Obviously, after a low score last week and that really low score against Penrith, so he'll go down to about 600, just above 600k. His break even will be a little bit better. Goal kicking, but maybe Reynolds is back. Pretty good draw, Mikey. I know you're keen on him.
I'm very keen on him. As I said before, he's going to cost 620 to 630. Got that big score in there, and just he seems to, when the Broncos are on, he's always in and amongst it. And I know there was that light score there. That one goes out the rolling average. It's just such a big price. Going Ponga to him will grant you 260k, and I need to start saving. I've already got 200k in my kitty, so I've got 460k. So I think for me, it allows me to start trying to save, but it means I don't need to make 3 trades to get these big guys in. I can just go Cleary, and I'll have enough money to nab a centre wing and set up for the buy period. But the draw I like. I think he's got a great matchup against the Tigers next week, as he'll become. I want to have the VC or C on for him. He's only at 6%. I do think he will be one of the heavily targeted guys just because the price is right. And he just goes on this run where I had him last year and he was so fun to own. Like, he's just going to be owned over this period and look to jump off around Origin. He goes Roosters after that, Parramatta, Manly, Titans. It's not too bad. Roosters' defense has been pretty shit, and Manly have showed that their defense can be pretty shit too. So I think against all those teams, he's got a shout of going okay. And yeah, just as I said, the price compared to all these other fullbacks, like if Drinky's got up against Penrith this week, I can save myself 200k and get a guy that once, if he performs well and I'm right and he kills the Tigers, all of a sudden he starts to generate that cash back up. And then when you look to jump off him after the buys, you're hoping to, gain 150 to 200k there and jump to one of the other fullbacks. So I think as someone like you, Savs, that loves playing the fullback roulette, this can actually help you because you can play the fullback roulette while making some money at the same time, potentially. Back to you.
Oh, I'm doing this game, aren't I?
Look,
yeah, we can just host it. That's why I'm saying back to you. But yeah, back to you, Seth.
Ezra Mam, 95 points, not really SuperCoach relevant. Cobbo is an interesting one. He's sub 600k.
You've been all over him. You've been shouting him the past couple of weeks. And
yeah, I
man,
have.
his price is still good. They've got a nice run too. I don't mind the Cobbo play if you want like a cheap, like two picky to someone like him. I think it could be the goods.
Yeah, pretty good draw.
Origin.
Pretty good draw up until round 12. I don't know if he does play Origin, because they've got who have they got? The Hammer, or is the Hammer out?
Hammer, Murray Tuolangi, Dangagai missed out at some points. I see they've got a lot of options now, more than what they did.
I think Coates and
Cobbo will be there.
I think Coates and Holmes are locked in, to be honest.
Yeah, Tuolangi's been good too, so like maybe he gets a wing spot. Yeah.
Coates, Holmes, Hammer, Tuolangi. I don't know. I honestly think Coates is there over Cobbo. I don't think Cobbo plays centre in Origin. I think he plays on the wing if he plays Origin. But yeah, might not play Origin. But Xavier Willison, 47 points. He is someone a lot of people missed. He makes 45k, break even at -12. Has another negative break even next week at -2. So. Geez, he was a really good cash generator. And these front row forward cheapies are starting to pop out, aren't they? Liam Henry was looking like the good one. Now Liam Henry's looking like the bad one.
Yeah, they're scoring tries. That's a thing where Liam Henry just doesn't even look like scoring. So that's all you need kind of with the guys that are kind of low end. You just need one spike score, and then they're going to get some cash generation for the next couple of weeks. And I guess we've got that from Willison and Sam Hughes as well.
Simi Sasangi is the top point scorer for the Canberra Raiders. He is 219k. He's played one game for 29 points. So I don't know what his deal is. He started at the second row. I assume his spot is not that safe. So obviously he's a watch to see where he's named this week. If he is named with the likes, I think a lot of people were relying on Chevy Stewart to be a cheapie option next week. But with 17 points, I don't know if a lot of people are going to be keen on him. But if Sasangi is named on the edge next week instead of Mariota, what are your thoughts on that?
Did he move to half when Thingo went down, or was it Starling? I'm not too sure. couldn't watch it, but I know he put in a kick or something to set up a try, so I thought he might have moved there. But available at centre wing, do we really want another Raiders centre wing?
Yeah, I know.
Or
It's
you
ridiculous.
got-
If you're going to jump off these other guys, maybe.
Yeah,
They
when
do
you want
have a
to be
buy in round 10, but they do cover the buy round, which is huge. Because if you get on a guy, so I'm like, now you're going to let it ride. But I guess just the job security, like, they do have a lot of guys that are going to come back.
Depends on
and you
Elliot
can
Whitehead.
run
I
out
don't
roll.
know how far Elliot Whitehead is away, so he's kind of the one that's going to take the spot.
I think there's a massive there's a massive factor here with all these guys. Ethan Strange, Danny Levi, James Schiller, and Morgan Smithies. Jamal Fogarty was just about the form half back in the competition, and he's injured. He's out for like 10, I think it was 12 weeks minimum with a bicep injury. A lot of these guys, their scoring is going to be way lower. Like I think the likes of Schiller, has to be the number 1 or number 2 traded out next week, in my opinion. You have a big break even, and once again, playing on that right side of Fogarty, I don't think he's going to get quality ball. Ethan Strange, the platform's not there for him now, so maybe he becomes a sell. Danny Levi, we always knew he was going to be a sell, but I think all these blokes, like Smithies, can do a job for you, but he's also at the point where if he doesn't come out next week and score decently, he's going to lose a bit of cash as well.
Sabs, do you mean the week, like this week coming up, or the week after, for like these Raiders trade outs?
No, like next week.
Yeah, because like when you think of it, Schiller had a break even of minus 60. Even with that 30, he's still got a 69 in his rolling average. It's not going to, like, he's not going to lose too much if you hold on and you're not desperate to sell.
Yeah, that's true. But I've looked
only
at
$3.99.
I've looked at projections though, and his break even is going to be 60 next week.
60, and they play the
Sharks.
Which, he did score 77 against them when they played him last. So, like, I probably just don't want to get, I might wait a week. This could have Bostock written all over it. Because if you can somehow ride the wave with Schiller, if you can keep having a big game here and there. I know what you're saying about Fogarty, but I don't really, I'm not going to be trading.
I think what Sav's trying to say is if you need to sack a player, he's probably at the top of your list, especially to upgrade at centre wing.
So Schiller, break even of 43 next week, so that's not too bad. You can definitely hold another week. Ethan Strange, 51. Morgan Smithies, 45. So Xavier Savage, 77. So if you do have Xavier Savage.
First three all holds, in my opinion, for now, unless
for now,
make a move.
I'll tell you what's really awkward, though. Danny Levi, 64 break even.
Time to, it's all. You don't want to have to worry about your hooker.
No, it's ridiculous, eh?
Yeah, but you don't want to use that money you're saving up, especially if you get like a Walsh. You don't really want to waste your money on another hooker. It's a tough spot to be in because you don't want to worry about that hooker spot, the second one. You just want to leave it for now.
Yeah, for sure. Unless you can go to Grant and your side's looking pretty good. I wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, that's all the SuperCoach relevant news from this game.
Yep. And over to the Doggies, 36-12, another upset. The big one here, of course, I'll go over the Dogs first, but the big one here is a Ponga injury, waiting for like a full proper update. But it was a foot injury on top of the pointers. We mentioned before, to me, looks like he'll be, I know we're waiting for that feedback, but to me, be the one that I'm looking to move on. I'm sick of using these trades in the fullbacks, but I guess while he's carrying two kind of niggles, I'm just a little bit scared. And he was the second highest captain option too. So sucks for those guys out there, but kind of maybe save the ones that didn't captain him, and even the ones that don't even own him be huge. Over to to start with the Dogs, Carraz just proves it how good this kid is on the wing, and 95 if he stays there. The Bulldogs do play the first bye round. They also do have a bye next week. So this is kind of perfect for some of these options. If you're keen on them, you wait that extra week, you hold the Raiders. Schiller doesn't go too well, then Schiller to Carraz could be on, because Carraz had a break even of 71. That 90's not going to see him rise too much. He'll rise about not 18K. So he'll go to about 621.
20,700 with a break even of 22.
So he will be a huge option. He could be a huge option if he stays on that wing. The Dogs are starting to look good, and I thought they looked very good in their loss to the Storm last week. And to be honest, they're starting to get on a bit of a roll, and at least showing that even when they're losing games, they can put some points on. So I'm very keen on obtaining a Bulldog that's in the backs. I like him. and I also like Sherry. But to be honest with you, like Karaz is someone like he's got such good base, man. I know he's got a try assist in there too, and a try in those scores, but that's just what he can do. And that was a price that so many of us were willing to start with. So I think the buy comes at a perfect time. Wait a week and do other things this week, especially if Cleary's back. I guess you guys, do you agree with that one? Both kind of looking at
I agree.
Yep. Going down the list, Burton continues to be a play that would have been so good. I looked at him and I go, nah. I looked at their draw and I go, nah, I hate that draw. And you look at it now and, man, the guys that had the balls to do it, with how shit that 5'8" position is, I'd love to have Matt Burton in there, but he's just too much for me to even fathom now. Connor Tracy continues, he's at fullback. If he continues to stay there, he could be another one. Like, he's available at centre wing. Like, as I said, that buy round, they play that first one. He had a break even of 123. Scores a 71, so he will lose 41K. There we go. Fucking Sav's on top of it. And 540K for him isn't too bad either. And to be honest, like Taff was on the bench, and if they continue to name it like that, as I said, you've got after their buy round, you'll be looking at Sherry versus Connor Tracy versus Karaz. I know with them coming with the round 13 buy, I'll be looking at one of them because I think they all come in at pretty decent prices if you are after a centre wing. Just going with the 63, as I said before, Bronson Sherry. Savs, do you know how much he's going to make? I think it's around
he makes 60K with a break even of negative 23 next week.
Yeah, so 405K, that's still a buy. And he's looking very good on that left side. They seem to be playing both sides, but 87 against the Storm, 60 here. And then when he comes back off the bye, plays the Tigers, which is good. Panthers, not good. But then Canberra, Dragons, Knights in the bye. Again, like, that's a pretty favourable draw for the Bulldogs minus those Panthers. So I guess that kind of backs the thoughts about targeting someone here. Sam Hughes, the gift that keeps on giving. The tides have turned, and 69 from him, and the cash generation from him starting to get pretty crazy now. And looks to, obviously wasn't meant to start, like he was meant to be on the bench, and then Patolo got out, so they decided to keep kind of playing roulette. But I guess if you need to play him some weeks, just play him. And it'd be interesting. Like, he might be an easy up. Like, if you got the money, you could upgrade to him to AFB if you've got the cash. Or
he's playing 40 minutes, and I think he's got about 45 base. He makes another 68K with a break even of 11 next week. So he's starting to hit what we expected,
which is huge. And I think he's someone that I would love to hold on for the buy round. I think he'll be handy, especially because it's a position where I really don't like making too much movement, especially if he's not your starting to. Knights, Dylan Lucas keeps doing a job. His base is pretty decent, keeps scoring tries. He's also one that's now got away, made like 70K, continues to make. Frizzell due back soon, be interesting to see. I assume he'll take Lucas' spot because Kai Pierce-Paul got saved with the late try assist there, jumped up to 75, but he just keeps ticking away too in price. Let's be safe. Knights are another team that play that first buy. I know we keep mentioning the buy, but it's coming up fast. It's round 8 next week. Round 13's coming quick, so you need to start thinking about it. Bradman Best there, got saved with a try of 65. Realistically here, I already mentioned Ponga. Not really anyone else massively. Okay, Marzihu. Did he play left?
Yeah. Played left.
29, and I think when Ponga went out, you're like, shit, because he's someone that I've been really looking at bringing in. But with another low score, I don't know, you'll be able to tell us, Sabs, the price drop's going to be pretty significant this week. What's it going to be like?
Minus 83K with 121 break even, so he goes down to about 620, 630.
Plays the Dolphins next week, hopefully without Ponga, then the Warriors, and then you could try and bring him in, hopefully for a nice cheap price under 600K, going Tigers, Titans, Bulldogs, and they got a buy in round 12, but they'll play Bulldogs in the buy. So I think he'll be someone you really want for the buy, but you want to see Ponga with him. But Marzihu from around sub 600K, I think is going to be a steal. So as I said before, this is kind of why I don't want to spend the money on Lomax. Look at all the center wing options we've spoken about in this podcast. There's so many coming up. It's like, how are you going to fit them all in? So kind of look ahead at trying to turn some of these Shillers and Strangers to them. All right, Jake, over to you for the final game of the round before we wrap it up.
Perfect. I get to talk about the top of the
so there you
table
go.
Sharkies. Put an absolute shellacking on my brother's team, the Cowboys, so I haven't heard from him yet. But he goes pretty quiet in all the chat, so he's hard to find. But I guess Nico Hines finally has bounced back and shown what he can do. He kind of looked like he was doing it easy. He was just involved in everything. Banged out a 133. Mulatalo continues to get doubles like crazy. I'm pretty sure he hasn't scored a hat trick yet. So I guess premium option wise, his price has probably gone too far out. He's kind of gone into that low max sort of range. But Mulatalo, I guess premium option, he seems like he's going to score doubles kind of every week. So one to look at. Will Kennedy finally had a good game, but I think of the fullbacks, he's not really one to look at. I know Savs every year either has Kennedy or thinks about Kennedy, but I'm pretty sure Savs is not thinking about Kennedy this year. Can I confirm that?
No. When I watched him today, though, I was like, I had a little look at him. 72 points, though, and he had like a really mad game.
And he was involved, yeah. Otherwise, he's getting like 20.
Plays the buy round as well.
Yeah, you usually look at him every year, though, when the fullbacks are a bit lighter. I feel like we're just so heavy on fullbacks in the moment. Like last year, Ponga was available at 5'8". Chance was available at centre wing. I'm pretty sure Drinky's been available at 5'8" in the past. It's kind of been not last year, but it was just last year was Turbo. No, actually, Turbo was injured. So what was it? It was Latrell and Ponga and
Latrell was also injured for a lot of the year as well, so we kind of didn't have many fullbacks. So that was
exactly.
So now all of them are available.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think you can consider Kennedy because you can when the fullback availability is like it was last year, but I think it gives you a bit of false sense of security. Last year,
all the Sharks backs were on fire in this game. Ramian, before we get to the one that everyone kind of has. Ramian, 58 in base. But the big one, Kyle Iro, 56 in base. If you didn't get on him, you'd be hurting because he looks like he's nailed in that side. He had 23 runs in this game. He's the one that you can safely play every week, I think, especially if Sharks are going to keep attacking like they did.
It's going to be a strong hold for a while, that's for sure. And you knew, we couldn't believe how good this guy was and not breaking into the side. And he finally has, and it makes sense for him to hold this spot. I know a lot of people were worried, but yeah, as you said, Jake, you don't really need to have 4 top shelf options at the moment when you can just seem to plug him in. And he scores a try that's 80. That's huge for his price.
Apart from that, I mean, Stone Street, he was a rookie on debut, scored a try, only 40, but Koto will be back next week. He only copped a week suspension, so he's not really one to look at.
I've got a special shout-out, Jake. You go first, Savs.
No, I was about to go over the Cowboys. So.
His favourite player is Luke Cavell.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. What a weird player to pick as a favourite player.
I loved Luke Cavell when I was younger too. So when they said that, I was like, oh my God.
Is that because you used to be a goal kicker, Savs?
Yeah.
Goal kicking winger.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Braden Trindle, who scored 60 SuperCoach points with a try assist and 2 tries. So that's a total of 50 or 46 points.
And 2 try contributions as well.
Yep. There you go. So literally, other than that, he tackled the ball. He got -7 in missed tackles. And that is the most bum SuperCoach performance with killing it in actual NRL. That is absolutely outrageous, and I just needed to shout him out for that.
He used to be good in SuperCoach. When he's the dominant playmaker, he's good in SuperCoach, and I feel like he still got in the way a bit of Hines, but it felt like Hines just had no worries about Trindle today. I was actually scared watching him as a non-captainer, whereas I haven't felt that in the past this year.
Yeah, it was like that. I mean, Trindle, they sometimes went left and Trindle was the main half, but it still looked like Titans' team for, I guess, the first time this season. So.
Yeah. And is this the changing tide now? They played so well against a club that's been playing well. I know a lot of people would have had doubts at selling Hines to get to Cleary, but kind of this game, I do think he can continue it up. And now I'm kind of going, just hold strong with him. And if for some reason he misses Origin, you don't want to not own him for 13.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Dearden was, I guess, the main highlight for the Cows, 71. That was, I think he had a couple of line breaks. He didn't actually have a try or try assist. So I guess the fact they go into Penrith next week, not really one to consider. Val Holmes got the try for them.
Continues to get saved by those tries. I'm sick of it.
Saved for a 61. I'm glad that Savs has him, because that's the reason that you kind of get the saved tries. He had Dylan Brown and Val Holmes, both on track for 25 30s and saved by tries. Drinkwater with a 56. If you don't own Ponga, Mikey, for those people who don't own Ponga and they have Drinkwater, is he a sell?
Drinkwater,
No.
a sell?
Yes, Drinkwater. No,
and I said, not for just the 1 week. He goes into Penrith. I know his price is pretty high.
Cows did look quite horrible, and they have looked horrible last couple of weeks.
For him to score 56 in how horrible they look, normally Drinky would score under 20 in this. And if you go after, don't tunnel vision, look after Penrith. I know I currently don't have him, and I will look to bring him in. After that, they go Dolphins, Titans, Bunnies, Tigers, Roosters in the bye. Come on, after this week, I know I'm thinking Reece Walsh. I'll be looking to at some point, maybe after the Dolphins, I'll be bringing Drinkwater back for that Titans game. He has to come in for round 10. The only reason I'm not going to worry about it now,
scored 140 or something against them earlier.
Yeah.
So.
Personally, a good trade would be Ponga back to Drinky, but I think I just want to make some moves and then I'll look to get Drinky back for round 10. But if I didn't jump off this week, I think, it's just one shit game you got to deal with. Just hold tight unless, you're really not feeling it. But that draw coming back is crazy. And I think he'll miss Origin.
Yeah. And he's definitely one that you probably want to put priority on for that buy, because he's going to be a captaincy option.
They don't have a buy till round 16 too, so he covers 14 as well, which is huge. And then he covers the 17 and the 20. So realistically, if he doesn't play Origin, he probably covers a lot of those tough weeks.
I think if you have Ponga, I wouldn't be selling to Drinky this week. But if you have Drinkwater, I wouldn't be selling Drinkwater, if that makes sense. So obviously it's a bit awkward with the Penrith matchup, but if you maybe sell, Ponga to a Garrick who has fullback eligibility, and then wait till the week after, because Drinky loses money this week, he'll lose money again after the Penrith game, and then he will have a high break even the week after, even if he scores pretty well next week. But don't let that scare you off, because he's definitely an elite option now, isn't he?
Hopefully drop.
He still looked very dangerous today.
Yeah, we're hoping now people that don't own him, in that he can drop back to that 800K mark, and then the other guy you get can be a nice trade to him. If you go on Walsh, hoping Walsh can get up to around that, and him to Drinky costs you a lot less than what they both do now.
Sav's just acknowledging a fellow follower.
I'm so excited to own CNK for Anzac Day, 2 o'clock.
40 runs a game he has. I guess quickly just to wrap it off, Finne Fuiaki, another underwhelming score. He was off with HIA for 15 minutes, but he just, I don't know, the attacking stats aren't coming, and he's kind of just plotting out with 30s and 40s.
I thought he looked good, though. I thought he looked a bit busier.
But they kept going to him. I think Nico Hines just had him every single time. So I guess he was against a West defender. Was better. Yeah,
sorry. The big game's going to come. So I'm happy to hold him. Maybe Lukey's due back sooner. You can't wait too long for this big game, because Lukey's going to come back. But
you can hold at the price. He's not losing too much value, and we can wait to see if we can use him as an option for that buy round. There's a lot of guys are thinking of trading, but realistically, if you're in positions like some of us that haven't saved any trades, I've got to just hold some of these guys, because I've got to look to save trades, or I'm going to get unstuck later. I've used all these trades to catch up in the ranks, but it's not going to go far if you then fall off a cliff later because you got nothing left. So I guess you got to think about that too.
I guess speaking of falling off cliffs, Taumalolo just continues to slide down that cliff.
Jesus Christ. He actually looked good when he was on the field too.
Yeah, he just only plays about 15 minutes a game, it seems.
He's still
All right.
quite owned.
All right, that's a wrap up, I guess.
That's
of the
the
games.
wrap
We
up.
got any?
I'm happy to stay on and answer questions if you guys need to go. But
I've got to jump
as
off.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll both jump off. I guess before we do, obviously, Sabs will fill you guys in on the premium content. Shout out to all those guys that are in and amongst it. And obviously, tune in with Sabs on Tuesday and Tim on Tuesday for the TLT podcast, and then on the Burst on Wednesdays. Good luck for Anzac round next week. Save some trades, use some trades. Think smart. And get ready for that 3 games on a Thursday. I'm excited for it. So we'll see you guys back here. The Sunday, we haven't penciled in a full-time time we're going to slot into with the 6 o'clock, like being done by 6. It'll just depend week on week. So expect us kind of around this time. I think it'll depend each week. But how good's the 2 p.m., 4 p.m. games for Sundays? So good.
Oh, much better than a 6 p.m. game. Much better.
All right. Thank you to Sabs for jumping on again in his busy schedule with the podcast. And thank you, Jake, as always. Good luck, everyone.
Good work, Mikey. Thank you.
See ya.
See you.
Over to you, Sabs.
All right. Thank you. We're answering some questions. There's obviously not many questions here, so we'll just land what we can. Tons need to be booted from the comp, says Praying Mantis. There's actually not that many questions. I think a boost is 100% happening this week for me. Owning Gutho, Ponga, and Garrick is going to throw me so far out of the 1%, being here for 4 weeks now. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I think use the boost while you can get your side right. Hammondo, Nathan, immediate trade in. Depends who you have. If you got SJ, I don't think he is, but I think he is if you don't have SJ and Hines. Meat Sack, haven't heard you guys before, but Shea Savage Burbo's great stats guy. I'm not usually a great stats guy, but it's pretty good when you've got Twitter up and you can just read off the page and you haven't got the responsibility of keeping the conversation going. You've got 2 other blokes keeping the conversation going. Hines finally got the ball. He wanted Trindle playing the support role. I think that was definitely the case today, and that they'll get better. They'll definitely get better, and they will be they'll find that balance for sure. Daniel Morgan, worth holding Ponga for the week, then going Drinky. I think you're probably best off going, if you're looking at getting in Ruben Garrick, get him in via Ponga and then use Jules to get in Drinkwater next week. I think that's the way I'd be going. But if that's not in your plans, I don't know. Really, I don't know, to be honest. Damon Hool, is Pappy a keep or a sell? I think Pappy is a keep this week, especially with Ponga going down. If you've got Pappy in your side, he's not a priority to sell out. He's got the Rabbitohs this week, and the Rabbitohs have obviously been going like an absolute train wreck. So if you can get Pappy on for a big score there, I love it. Jackson Pipe, should I keep Munster or sell for a cheapie? Also has Ezra as my other 5'8". I definitely keep Munster. He actually looked really good on the weekend. He got sin bin, so I don't think you can take that into consideration with his score on the weekend. Jake Christopher, part of our premium group. Shout out to Jake. Backed up on my trade suggestions. Didn't bring in Lomax this week, but got DCE as an easy path to Cleary. Have multiple center wings to trade 2 for 1 to get Lomax, but have Ponga issue now too. No boosts. No boost left. What are you doing? No boosts. Who has no boosts? I have no boost. I don't know what the question is here, but I think DCE to Cleary when Cleary is back is a pretty good option. Although DCE has Parramatta next week, and I think Parramatta defensively have been pretty bad. But multiple to trade 2 for 1 to get Lomax. And yeah, Lomax, geez, he's killing it, isn't he? Shano PAFC, Ponga to CNK. That's my exact plans. I'm looking at going Ponga to charge Nickel Clockstad. I think Nickel Clockstad has been so good. They got pumped on the weekend, and he absolutely 77 points still. 1 try assist. His base stats are ridiculous. I think as a short-term option, at least with that draw, I'm happy to get CNK, especially while all the other gun fullbacks like Ponga and Latrell are out. Teddy's not really performing. I think you've got to add Turbo and someone else. Mark, is it time to start offloading the Raiders? I think it is time. Just about their break evens are starting to get on, and I really think you've definitely got to look at moving them on. But they're not urgent at the same time. They do play round 13, so I'd probably look to hold someone like Ethan Strange. I'd probably sell Lockie Galvin before I sell Ethan Strange. I think Strange has a bigger upside, and I like the look of Strange as a Supercoach option a bit more. Jake Christopher, what issue to address first? Bring in Lomax this week or DCE as a path, but also Ponga. Get in Lomax or fix the Ponga issue. I think fix the Ponga issue first. Lomax, like he's pretty much topped out, so I think he can find value elsewhere. That like Garrick will still have a high break even next week and will be pretty cheap. So get the next guy. Like I don't think realistically Lomax can't keep this up all season. We say this every year. Like last year was Jermaine Asako. I don't think he can keep it up all year, but just see how you go. Like, I think you've got to, with someone like Ponga, if he's out and he's 900K, I think Tim Moody, does Mark want to be security for the podcast? He looks like a security guard, doesn't he? Jump on, Timmy. Jump on. Answer some questions. Corey, sell Ponga to Cleary. If you got the jewels to do it, it's probably a good week to do it. I would like, you do want two gun fullbacks, but at the same time, I think most of the fullbacks are pretty shot at the moment. As I said before, Latrell's out, Ponga's out. Ponga and Turbo were by far the best ones, and Drinky has the Penrith Panthers. I think doing to Cleary this week is a pretty good option, in my opinion. We had some comments on the Instagram. I'll see if I can go through that. I think that's it. That's it for the podcast, guys. Thank you for asking your questions. Thank you for tuning in. We had a pretty good turnout tonight, so cheers for tuning in. We'll see you on Tuesday for the Supercoach Experience Tuesday show.